Hello again, my friends. Once more, welcome back to Leopard Street. I've got the turntable turning and squeaking. It ain't perfect, but it's better than it was. It's been a little bit of an adventure this weekend getting this working. Stick around, we'll have a little look and see how I've got on with it. And a few other upgrades to the platform. And I've got a water tower. This is Leopard Street. Let's have a look. Now, just before we start, we have platforms going in. These are all going to be replaced eventually with probably Metcalf ones. I've got some wider bits and pieces going on there. However, these for now will do quite nicely. They're fairly cheap. My printer, turn around here, is currently doing 3 half-length ones and 3 ramps, so that'll sort out. Anyway, other bits. I've got a water crane. Advice sought from those who know what they're doing. They're tall enough. I mean, it's obviously tall enough on a platform. Tall enough on the ground? Or do you think it needs to be higher? This side. I mean, it could swing over. Be a bit low. I think it's probably all right, but it's one of those things it could probably do with being up a little bit. Anyway, today's job, as we said, is the turntable. So here it is upside down. This is the new motor mount with the motor. The motor's quite heavy. Yeah, if I can take that out of there, come out. Obviously 3D printed. Normally, the way these things work is it draws a squiggle of plastic. I mean, yeah, you look on here, a squiggle of plastic, like this line down the front. Draws a line, draws it back. Yeah. And then the bits, so you get a line across there and back, line across the bottom and back, and then the in between it fills in with like a squiggle. I've told it to print the walls on this solid. This is, I can't bend this. This is tough, which is good. I have tested the motor fits, which is these holes in the top have basically got screw threads cut into them now because I fitted the motor. I had to remove it so I could, because this top piece is separate and it's, you can see the seam line, it's just super glued on. It seems strong enough. So I've got to put the motor in, it's going to go in there. So I'm going to do that in a minute. That's then going to get fitted onto here. I do have over here the control box. All this is going to do at the moment is spin the table left, right, left, right. So anyway, I'm going to put the camera in the mount and we're going to start looking at setting this up. Right, so first step is fitting the motor to this. This isn't square. I downloaded the mount. This is a NEMA 17, which, as I said before, is just the interface. So that go into there. It's not square, slightly rectangular. I'm putting the side with the fitting over there, so to speak. And then I need one of these, which are, I think these are M3 by 10. I've got a box with some little M3 washers. Allen key into the bottom of it. And actually, I can fit these into the holes, I hope. Screw this in. And because they've been in before, the holes are largely threaded. So I can screw these in here. Put my finger on the top. I want to get it so it's not quite sticking out. This is going to be slightly more awkward to put in, just by virtue of inaccessibility. It's a little bit annoying, but is what it is. Right, that's another one with a washer. The 2 washers, there's no real reason for them other than I needed a bit more spacing. These are M10s. I've got some M8s, which are a little bit short. Ideal would probably be an M9 or changing the thickness of the top of this thing. The reason I had to take the motor out to glue it in, it would have actually been quite useful to keep it in, is what I didn't want was super glue getting onto the washers and the threads for these bolts in case I have to take them out again. So yeah, going to do this. Screw this in, and you can see they come up and come level with the top. You could make these holes slightly wider, in which case what you'd find is the bolts would just fit through loosely and then screw into the mount. By making them a little bit stiff, however, what I've done is mean the plastic will hold them, so these won't come loose. Is the thinking. Now I was looking at the layout. I've got a few things I could do this weekend. My youngest has been about pinching my desk. So my desk has had 15mm scale 1940s era Germans on it most of the weekend. He's been painting some of those. He has he has now departed and he's taken all his paint with him. So I've come back down here. I can work down here while he's down here. I'm not going to do videos while he's about because he tends to have music playing and so on and so forth. He just nicks my desk when he's when he's about. And to be honest, I'd rather him be about and me not working than him not being about and me able to play about down here. So that was that. And we had a fun morning at a model gaming event yesterday. So yeah, that was all good stuff with family. Right, so those bolts are coming through there. So what I now need to do is put this back in. It's on a slight angle because it's got a bolt sticking out there. Obviously, I put some big holes in the side, partly for cables and partly so I can access that mounting clamp. Now, if I just do a couple of these up, just to start with. That should be enough to bite it. Motor's now attached. Obviously it's loose because I need to tighten these all the way up. So I'm going to do that and I shall be back with you. So I shall speed this bit up. Okay, so that's that done. This is the coupling I've used. It's screwed quite tightly onto the motor. Right, before I can put this onto the turntable, there is a little modification I need to make. If we come back down here, I've got to put the wheels back in, basically. I'll be taking them out again because I've not finished painting it, but I've got to put the wheels back in. So they come with little pegs that go into holes. They've got a bit of paint in them now, so the holes are a bit stiffer, which is useful because it should stop wheels falling out. These are going to go in. I have to get peg through, so that's that one. Obviously the treads need painting. There's a lot more painting still to do on this. I've got all the weathering, I've got the base thing needs doing as well, so it will be coming apart again. However, I'd rather get the motor in working and tested while I can, so to speak. This is just... It's the most awkward part of setting this turntable up is actually fitting these wheels. The pin, there we go, is a friction fit. That's going to me. See, that one spins freely, this one doesn't. It's got a little bit too much paint on it, but that'll wear off. That'll wear and it'll spin. And if it doesn't, when I take it apart next time, I'll run a file through it and then it will spin. Yeah, these are slightly awkward to fit. If you're not careful, what you find with them is they lock up. If you put a bit of glue on the pin, you can get it in the wrong place, which doesn't help. Get in there, it'll line up. But yeah, you can't really see what you're doing is part of the problem. It will go in. The editor's decision is final on this. It needs to come up a bit, that's why. So yeah, I mean, it's nice these are metal pins rather than... See, that one spins fairly freely. It's nice they're metal pins rather than a piece of plastic, because that will just gum up. These, obviously, you can put a little bit of grease on if needed, which when it all goes together for the final time is going to happen. And again, let's get this peg through there like so. And they're useful because when the table is in the deck, these basically support the ends and it rotates freely. So now turn this the other way up. And when you're doing this, don't have it like that and tip it that way. The pins at this end will fall out. Tip it with the table horizontal to where you're tipping it. This is one of those ask me how I know this moments. Right, anyway, this needs to come on. I need to align that so I can get at that. It's going to go on. Wires come through the holes in the side, as I did previously. That'll do. That onto there, that onto there. What I now need to do is pick this up, with stopping the table falling out again. And that sits on the top. The wires come out the sides, they're out the way. This deck can be screwed in place. The table itself holds the thing in centrally. So what I'm going to do is run a couple of screws into this. I'll do 2 to start with, assuming I can get the bag open. I love these little Ziploc bags. Keep them open. A couple of screws out of here, not many. Again, this is one of the reasons I did this with plywood on its base, is it doesn't half make doing stuff like this easier. That one. And the exactly opposite one seems to make some sort of sense. Assuming, of course, I can get the screw to actually go into the hole. Always a problem, but there we go. Right. And before I do anything else, the table needs to come back up this way. It'll still run up. What I'm making sure is it's still centered and it still spins. Every step of the way here is testing things before securing anything finally. What I can now do is come into here and tighten up this Allen screw. We'll go in and we'll hold the table firmly. At least I hope it will. That's the idea. This motor has quite a lot more torque on it. Can I get that in there? Just. Yeah, this motor has the capability of putting out quite a bit more torque than the previous one did. The previous one, if I gripped it, was a tad anemic. This one isn't. So that's in place. It still turns. Right. What I need to do is plug all this back together. So, right. I've got a 12-volt power supply. The layout has its own 12-volt power supply, which I'll be using eventually. However, for now, I'm not. So this is going to sit on the top. Its plug wire comes up the back here to plug into the motor. I picked the whole thing up by the motor because it is quite sturdy. Now that goes that way, I think. Or is it the other way? Useful sort of thing with these connectors is they typically will only actually go in one way round, so they are quite hard to put in backwards. I think that's right. Yeah, there we go. That goes in there. I'm not connecting the sensor as yet because I don't need to, so I'm going to plug that into there. That bit goes into the hole. So, and that turns. And it will turn fairly freely without anything else. Now, I have to set this up. And this is going to mean finding somewhere to plug my 12-volt supply into that has got a wire that's long enough. I'm going to do a full video on this motor controller. These are DRV whatevers at some point when I've got a little... when I'm a little bit more used to doing them. One thing I will say, there's an awful lot of videos online about how to use these things, and I won't say they're wrong, because they're not wrong, but what tends to happen is they omit some rather important information. 12-volt connector. Do not plug, and this is under any circumstances, I don't know where that went, plug it back in a minute. Don't plug this thing in without the motor connected. If you do, you've got a problem. I also need to turn yon PC on. I'm not using it, but I need to turn it on and disentangle the wires with my airbrush cable. Basically because I need to power up the little ESP32. That can go into there. I then plug this in, and if everything goes rightly, that table will start turning. There we go. It's making a little bit of noise, which I thought you might be able to hear as it moves. Now the software library it's set with, I can control how many steps that turns in. I can adjust the speed. That's probably a little bit too quick. Not a huge problem. I can sort of play around with that. In fact, if I do... Not sure what that's doing there, so if I put that back where it was. Right, what's happened is it's not gripping the shaft correctly, which is why it's sticking. I need to tighten that. Yeah, I need to tighten the Allen screw up. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to unplug all of this again because it's one of those unplug it while you work on it things. So what's happening? Turn this over. Turn that round so I can get hold of it. The Allen key in here is not tight enough. It's not gripping firmly onto the shaft, so I need to get in and adjust that slightly. In there. This is where it's not brilliantly accessible. It becomes a slight problem. Obviously, I've got to power up the tracks, and there's a load of other bits and pieces I need to do as well with this. But if I get that into there, I should then be able to tighten it a bit further. This is basically a friction fit, which sort of doesn't help. Right, let's into that. It's just a case of lock this in. Trying to line it so I can get hold of the thing. But yeah, the problem is the Allen key in this way, I don't have enough leverage on it to tighten it the way I need to. So that needs to go into there. That. And then tighten it without rotating the thing if at all possible. Right, that can then come back this way. As you can see, there's lots and lots of testing needed on this sort of thing. The plan for this week, if I can get it, is to get this thing working enough. I know I've finished with the mechanics of it. There we are, it's back in. And once I've finished with the mechanics of it, what I can then do is take it apart again, finish the painting, finish the building. That feels a bit better this time. So I plug that into there, which turns the power back on to that. Reconnect table. It's come loose. Yeah, there's the problem. It's not gripping at the bottom of that. So, that's annoying because that peg was glued in and that's just pulled straight out of there. So what I'm going to need to do is glue that peg back in a bit further. Oh, never mind. We're there. Or we're getting there slowly. Take this out again. Yeah, I'm going to have to do the twiddle around here. Yeah, so I'm going to have to dismantle that and glue that back in, which is going to mean sanding and a whole load of other bits and pieces. Anyway, yeah, back in a bit. Okay, what's happened? This is the peg. Get that to focus. You can see the little ring on it. That was super glue. I put some super glue on the thing. It's obviously not gone properly. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to take a file to this end and rough it up. And then I'm going to araldite it. Yeah. So that's going to take a while to dry before I can get back to doing this. But it is what it is. So I'm going to do that. So that can go into there. So yeah, I'm going to rough that up. I'm going to araldite that. And we're back in the next bit after that's cured. And we'll have another go. Okay. A few hours later. I've now refitted this. I can turn this by hand. And it seems to turn reasonably freely. There are still a few places I think it's rubbing slightly. So I may have to do a little bit of sanding. And obviously I've got to take it apart again to paint it. However, the drive rod is now araldited. It's been sanded in the hope that that will make the araldite grip a little bit better. I'm just trying to move a few cans my youngest has left lying around, but anyway, never mind. So let's plug in and see what we get. Ignore that initial bit. This is it at startup. Now, as you can see, it's moving smoothly, but with juddering. And I can feel the juddering in it. So I need to do a little bit of investigating as to exactly what's going on with that. However, if I put a pen there, I can find a pen that will stay where I put it. Find something that would stay where I put it. That'd be nice. I'll wait for it to come around again, and I shall place a piece of wood. Well, actually, a little bit of track. Just play with a bit of track, which I can hopefully set up to line up when it stops. It's set to do 360 in each direction currently, just as a test. As you can see, it doesn't do it at a constant speed. So that's where it's going to go to. I need to play with the software. I've got to sort that juddering out. The way it's pulsing, I think it is the motor, and I've got a connection to the motor that needs a bit of work. But it's going. And the fact it's only turning 180, not 360, tells me there is something somewhere not quite right. But that's lined up again. So we'll see if it comes back round and lines up again. Yeah. I was going a little bit quicker. It's quite a bit smoother. But yeah. Anyway, it's better than nothing. I've also, I was waiting for the glue to dry, built my water tower. Suggestions would be helpful here. I'm going to put a little roof piece in there because I want to put some lights in it. I'm going to put a little light over the door. But what goes in one of these things? I mean, I know some of them are just a tank on a frame with a pipe going up to it. So I sort of assume that needs nothing more than just a pipe, some valves and bits and pieces like that. What would be in the rest of it? I mean, would it literally just be storage? I don't know. I mean, yeah, don't know. I'm sort of thinking somewhere about there as a position for it, because essentially that's a piece of, it's a piece of land that I can't do anything else with. So, yeah, comments and thoughts more than welcome. I've got to get the signal box kit, which is here. Got to get that built as well. So we shall see. The thing I need to check with this thing, with this juddering, is its 0 position drifting. I mean, that's lined up again. That jolting, I mean, I would much prefer to stop that. If I can't stop that, I will be using that to mark out where the tracks end up. I've also araldited the sensor, so progress. I mean, it's better than nothing. Yeah, not perfect. It's riding around. It's not. It's on its wheels most of the time. What usually happens is one or other of the wheels is connecting, but not both. I don't think the deck's twisted. If anything, it's the base unit. But it's a turntable and it's going round. I can hear it. I mean, I think it's rubbing against the paper. I use thin paper. I think I just need to file it a bit more. It may actually just be a case of filing the hole. But this juddering doesn't seem to be related to it sticking, because I can put, when it's going, I can push my finger on it and just gently, and it's still juddering every few steps. It may be the speed. It could be something as simple as that. And the little test board. It's running some simple software. Anyway, turntable. Not perfect, but it's getting there. It is at least now turning. Is this one going to line up again? It has. It's lining up each time. It's turning 180. I should. You see, what I've just done is I've tweaked an adjustment on it, and that should have halved the speed of it, but it hasn't, which suggests that something else isn't quite right somewhere. I'll put that back where it was. But it goes round and round. There is an enable function on it, so once it's moving, I can do that and disable it. Now it won't line up because it was being told to move and it wasn't, but I can live with that. Anyway, that's that. I have done a little more with the station. So, as you can see, we've got that. There are now some platform ramps. There is a wider piece of platform. Thoughts? Is it worth sticking a bit of paint on that? I mean, it's all temporary platform. I'm going to be replacing it with some other stuff. This is so I can basically have something that looks a little bit like a station while I am playing around with it. So, yeah, thoughts appreciated on that. Anyway, that's been this weekend's worth of update. I sort of wanted to get this doing what it's doing, and it's doing it. Next steps, obviously, I've got to try and sort out this and get it to rotate a little bit more smoothly. I also want to add some functionality to it, so I've got a couple of little buttons. Eventually, it will be set up so that it's controlled via the Mosquito bits and pieces, and I can just say, go to position 1, and it'll just go there. For now, I just literally want a button that I can put here or hang on the side down here somewhere, around here, clockwise, anti-clockwise. Press it, hold it. While you're holding it, it turns. Let go and it stops. And I can drive it manually. I'm going to put a display board and other bits and pieces. Obviously, it's not going to stay looking like that. It's going to end up as a circuit. The goal, it's obviously going to be mounted under the board. The goal is either to mount it in this corner. Actually, I can't because there's a pillar there. It'll probably be over here somewhere, in which case the water tower might move to over here, because I'm going to need to get some holes in there. So you can hear it squeaking. That's something rubbing, which I need to sort out. But it's still lining up perfectly, which I'm quite pleased with. So yeah. Anyway, that's all for the future. I'm going to put that back over there for now so I don't knock it. This has been Leopard Street. Thank you very much for watching and sort of putting up with the fact this has been quite a minimalist one. Yeah, I've just been 3D printing stuff and messing around with a little bit of software on this. I will do something, as I've said, on how this controller actually works. It's a handy little thing. I mean, as you can see, it's software. There's a library doing all the acceleration stuff for me. But I do want to get this working. Anyway, I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.